My dear friend, listen to Menno, not with your ears, but with your spirit, with your heart wide open. Because what I'm about to tell you is not just another video, it's not another voice in the noise. This is a divine interruption, a holy summons wrapped in digital disguise. You didn't find this video by chance. You didn't stumble into this moment by accident. No, God pulled you here. He guided your steps, clicked your hand, stirred your curiosity, because the time has come. It's time for you to finally see what's been hidden in plain sight. Time for the truth to rise from the ashes of every lie you believed. Time for your real identity to be revealed, not the one you were forced to wear. Not the one shaped by trauma. Not the one bent by rejection. Not the mask handed to you by pain, but the one that was crafted in eternity by the very hands of the living God. You are not who they think you are. You are not who your worst days say you are. You are not the failure, the afterthought, the almost. You are who God says you are. And that's about to change everything. For far too long, you've carried labels that never belonged to you. Too broken, too old, too different, too much, not enough. But God never called you by those names. He never assigned you those limits. The world did. Wounded people did. And the enemy of your soul whispered it so many times, you started to believe it. But God is tearing the veil. He's shattering the identity you were never meant to wear. He's calling you out of the pit you never belonged in. You are not your wounds. You are not your shame. You are not the trauma that tried to define you. You are the work of His hands, and God doesn't make mistakes. There's a reason you never fit in. There's a reason your soul has always longed for something higher. Because you were never made to conform to a broken world. You were made with divine fingerprints. There is something sacred about your pain. Something holy in your resistance. Something powerful in your becoming. God didn't let the fire touch you to leave you burnt. He let it refine you so you could carry what's next. You weren't meant to just survive, you were meant to emerge. Right now, there's a battle waging inside of you, and it's not just about your circumstances, it's about your identity. The enemy fears who you're becoming. He fears the clarity you're gaining. He fears the fire that hasn't gone out inside of you. That's why the pressure came. That's why the confusion lingered. That's why the silence was so loud. Because the devil knows what you carry. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still listening. That's not random. That's not weakness. That's divine preservation. God shielded you. Even when you didn't feel Him, even when you thought He left, He was there breaking the false self, so the true you could rise. You see, God often hides His most dangerous warriors in obscurity. He covers His chosen vessels in silence, because when God unveils them, no one sees them coming. The ones He's about to elevate are the ones who were overlooked, the ones who wept in secret but kept walking, the ones who labored in the shadows, never asking for applause, the ones who stayed faithful even when they were forgotten. That's you. That's who God is about to reveal. The pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The rejection wasn't pointless, it was refinement. You weren't being buried, you were being planted. God was stripping away what wasn't real, burning away the pride, purging the impurities, sculpting your soul into a vessel that can carry the weight of His glory. And now the time has come. The stage is being set. The spotlight is shifting. The curtain is lifting. And when God reveals who you truly are, every lie that was spoken over you will fall like dust. You may have been called a nobody, but when God unveils the scroll, they'll see a giant. You may have been mocked as weak, but when heaven opens your story, they'll see a warrior forged in fire. You may have been overlooked by man, but you were never overlooked by God. While they laughed, God was anointing. While they doubted, God was strengthening. While they dismissed you, God was building. The world saw your struggle, but God saw your surrender. Let me speak this with thunder in my voice and truth in my spirit. You are more than you think you are. The attacks on your life weren't because you're weak, they came because you're dangerous to darkness. The enemy doesn't waste time attacking what doesn't scare him. The pressure was proof of your power. The confusion was a setup for clarity. The isolation was God's hand pulling you away from the noise so you could hear his whisper. You're not just trying to make it to Friday. You're not just a person surviving one day at a time. You are a carrier of spiritual fire. You are a vessel of divine purpose. You are a threat to the lies of hell. And when God unveils you, you might not even recognize yourself. Because the version of you that's about to emerge is stronger, wiser, more focused, unshakable. This version of you doesn't bow to fear. This version of you walks in authority. This version of you speaks with clarity, moves with boldness. So let them laugh. Let them underestimate. Let them label you based on your last season. Because when God steps in to reveal you, no voice, no past, no demon in hell can deny what he ordains. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need validation from people who never saw you clearly. You only need God. And when God says, asterisk, asterisk, now, every chain breaks, every lie is silenced, every door opens. That stirring you feel right now, that holy weight in your chest, that restlessness that won't let you quit, that's not anxiety, that's not confusion. That's destiny calling your name. You've outgrown your old skin. You've outlived the lies. The cocoon is breaking. The true you is ready to emerge. You may have looked ordinary, but God never made you to be average. You may have been counted out, but God counted you in. You may have been hidden, but now, God is about to showcase you. Not to make you famous, but to make his glory visible. Not to boast, but to bear fruit. Not to dominate, but to demonstrate the power of a surrendered life. So don't shrink back from the stage. He's preparing. Don't apologize for the anointing you carry. Don't second guess what he's called you to do. Because you've cried long enough. You've doubted long enough. You've hesitated long enough. Now it's time. Now is the hour to rise. Now is the moment to stop seeing yourself through the lens of trauma and start seeing yourself through the eyes of truth. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are right on time. The unveiling is near. The wind is shifting. The heavens are moving. And God is about to reveal who you really are. What if everything that tried to bury you was only making room for your roots? What if the same God who formed you in the hidden place is now preparing to reveal you in power? Yes, that time is near. The same hands that shaped you in secret are about to raise you in public. The same Spirit that sustained you through obscurity is about to anoint you in full view. God is about to pour oil on your head. He is about to open doors you never knocked on. He is about to lift you from places where others tried to bury you and showcase what he built in the dark. So hear me, and hear me with your soul wide open. Get ready, get serious, get low, because what's coming is not just a moment, it's a holy unveiling. This revelation isn't about applause. It's not about attention. It's not for Instagram likes or casual inspiration. It's about assignment. This stage isn't about ego. It's about impact. This spotlight isn't for fame. It's for purpose. And you, yes, you have been chosen to carry something the world desperately needs. Don't doubt your worth. Don't minimize your calling. Don't second guess the path that forged you. Because every scar was preparation. Every heartbreak was shaping. Every season of silence was sacred alignment. There's something different about you, and it's time you stopped hiding it. It's time to stop apologizing for what makes you set apart. It's time to stop dimming what God is trying to shine. There is no humility in pretending to be less than what God created. There is no honor in shrinking away from a destiny God handcrafted for your life. So stand tall. Speak boldly. Walk like fire lives in your bones, and heaven echoes in your voice. Because when God reveals you, He's going to shout through your life, and His voice will silence every critic. You don't have to feel ready, because God is ready. Even if your hands still tremble, His hand is steady. Even if your voice shakes, His voice thunders. Even when your faith flickers, His power does not waver. You were never meant to carry this alone. God is with you. God is in you. And when God enters the room, fear must flee. When God moves no, force can block it. When God speaks every, false identity must bow. You are about to be crowned not by man, not by status, not by performance, but by truth. You are about to walk in a name that God gave you before time began. So get ready, because God has seen it all. He's watched your silent faithfulness. He's collected your midnight tears. He's recorded every whispered prayer, every act of obedience when no one else was looking. And now He is ready to reveal the one He's been building in secret. The real you, the powerful you, the fearless you, the faithful you, the unshakable you. Make no mistake, this unveiling is not about ego, it's about eternal assignment. It's not about being seen by people, it's about being seen by God as ready. And when God calls you ready, the world cannot deny what He's declared. This unveiling is sacred. It is heavy with responsibility, because when God reveals the real you, He doesn't just elevate you, He entrusts you. He entrusts you with influence, with truth, with a light that refuses to be hidden. He sends you into places others have compromised, so you can stand. He gives you a voice when others have gone silent. He puts fire in your spirit that no fear, no pressure, no criticism can extinguish. But make no mistake, God only reveals those He has refined. If you felt the heat, it's because He was preparing the vessel. If you've walked through isolation, it's because He was removing distractions. If you felt broken, it's because He was breaking off the pieces that didn't belong to your divine identity. You thought you were being crushed, but you were being reshaped. And when God reshapes, He doesn't consult your past. He commands your future. And when He lifts the veil, the world will no longer see your scars first. They will see your strength. But never forget that strength was born in the night. In seasons where no one noticed, no one clapped, no one understood. That's where God does His greatest work. In the unseen, in the misunderstood, in the quiet corners of your story. He's been chiseling you like a sculptor bit by bit, piece by piece, until the image He saw from the beginning is finally ready to be revealed. And now, the veil is about to lift. Not because of who you are alone, but because of what God is about to do through you. You've wondered why doors slammed. You've questioned why certain people left. But what you didn't see was that God was protecting your becoming. Some rooms were too small for what you carry. Some relationships were too fragile to hold your weight. So God removed them not to punish you, but to prepare the environment where the real you could flourish. When God reveals a lamp, He does not keep it hidden under a basket. He sets it on a stand so it can give light to everyone in the house. And with light comes accountability. When God reveals the real you, you can no longer hide behind your excuses. You can no longer delay out of fear. You can no longer pretend you're not called. You must move when God says move. You must speak when God stirs your spirit. You must act when God commands your name forward. To be revealed by God is to be activated by Him. This is not about cosmetics, not about titles, not about appearance. This is a soul awakening, a spiritual emergence, a divine commission fueled by grace, cleansed by trials, focused by fire. And when it happens, do not be surprised if those closest to you don't understand. Because God is not revealing you for their approval. He is revealing you for His purpose. Those who only knew your silence may not recognize your voice. Those who only knew your wounds may not comprehend your strength. Those who only knew your history may not be ready for your destiny. But God is, and He's been waiting for this moment long before you knew it was coming. They may be shocked by your purpose, but remember this: their opinions are not your compass. Their labels are not your legacy. When God defines a soul, no human commentary can rewrite that eternal script. And in this holy season of unveiling, not only will the true version of you rise, but the false, the fake, and the fleeting will fall away, because God never elevates truth without shaking off deception. As He calls forth the real you, He will begin removing what can't go with you, relationships that no longer align, patterns that no longer serve, mindsets that no longer reflect His voice. Don't cling to what God is cutting. Don't mourn what He is deleting. Elevation demands purification, and your destiny requires protection. You cannot rise with anchors still latched to your soul. You weren't created to be stuck, you were formed to soar. And the version of you that God is about to reveal, that version walks in clarity, not confusion. That version no longer begs for approval from temporary voices, but is rooted deeply in the whisper of God. When your identity is grounded in His voice, storms don't shake you, giants don't intimidate you, fires don't consume you, because you know you are not walking alone. This rise isn't for your comfort, it's for a calling. A spiritual war is raging against deception, against fear, against silence, and God is revealing a warrior in you who isn't afraid to speak truth in a generation addicted to noise. You're not here to blend in, you're here to blaze. You were never born to echo, you were born to proclaim. You weren't made to entertain, you were destined to awaken. And when God reveals who you are, everything about your posture changes. You don't walk in hesitation, you walk in boldness. You don't chase attention, you carry presence. You don't squeeze into spaces, you create them. You don't fear failure, you recognize that if God reveals, He also sustains. This new version of you will be marked not by arrogance, but by divine confidence. Confidence that God's hand is upon you, that the fires you endured didn't burn you, they built you. You're not being revealed because you're perfect. You're being revealed because you're ready. And readiness doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means fear no longer makes your decisions. You've been tested, you've been refined, you've been found faithful in the silence, and now God is stirring your name in rooms you haven't even entered. He's aligning connections you don't yet see. He's preparing resources, appointing angels, orchestrating breakthroughs not just for you, but through you. Because when God reveals you, your life becomes a message, your scars become survival stories, your voice becomes an instrument of divine authority. Don't despise the path that brought you here. It wasn't about speed, it was about surrender. God isn't unveiling perfection, He's unveiling obedience. And here's the truth: your timeline is not broken, your path is not lost. The revelation is perfectly on time. Everything you thought was wasted will finally make sense. The waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It was investment. Now it's time to shed the old skin, to break the shell, to step into the full expression of what God always placed inside you. You are not a mistake. You are not overlooked. You are not too late. You are called. You are chosen. You are about to be revealed. And when that revelation comes, it will change everything. Because when God unveils someone saturated in His Spirit, Atmospheres shift, chains break, legacies are rewritten. What once held others captive will be shattered through your freedom. So keep your eyes on God. Don't look to the left. Don't glance back. What is coming is not man, but it's God ordained. It can't be delayed by devils. It can't be stolen by envy. It's yours. Not because you earned it, but because heaven wrote it. God formed you in silence. He built you through storms. He purified you through fire. And now, He is ready to reveal you in glory. Stand firm. Stay low. Stay close. Because what's coming next will not only reveal your identity, it will awaken your generation. And the boldness rising in you, that's not pride. That's the sound of revelation breaking through. Hook opening. There comes a moment divine, unmistakable, when you stop waiting for permission to shine. You stop shrinking your light to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for being called, chosen, and charged by heaven. Because when God reveals who you are, He doesn't just confirm your identity, He commissions your purpose. And when divine purpose is ignited by God Himself, not even the fires of hell can put it out. Main body. You were not created to merely exist. You were born to disrupt darkness. That's why the storms came for you harder than most. That's why the battles were invisible to everyone, but left visible scars on your soul. You've carried burdens others couldn't understand, because the enemy doesn't waste arrows on anyone who isn't dangerous to his kingdom. You weren't under attack because you were weak. You were under attack because your presence is a problem for evil. But here's the truth. The darkness never saw coming. It underestimated your endurance. It underestimated the God who was holding you when you couldn't hold yourself. It forgot that when God is the architect of your destiny, no demon in hell can touch the foundation. This moment, this is not just a season of increase. This is your awakening. God is not only increasing your capacity, He is awakening your identity, the real you. The you who isn't waiting for applause or waiting to be validated. The you who isn't bound by past wounds or public opinion. The you who has been shaped in the secret place, anointed in silence, and called for such a time as this. So no, you're not a mistake, you're not a shadow, you're not an echo of who others said you should be. You are a force unstoppable, unshakable, filled with the breath of God, walking with purpose, clothed in righteousness, and dripping with destiny. And listen and look at your surroundings to measure what's about to come. God always begins in obscurity. The seed grows before anyone sees the sprout. Beneath the soil, roots are digging deeper, anchoring you in unseen strength. The deeper the root, the higher the rise. You were never buried, you were planted. And now, because you remained in faith, it's time to rise not in your own strength, but in His perfect timing. You won't have to prove anything. You won't have to campaign or compete. When God reveals you, it will speak for itself. The light He places on you will be so radiant that confusion, insecurity, and fear won't even have space to breathe. You've spent too long trying to explain your depth to shallow minds. But now you won't need words. Your walk will testify. Your movement will make noise in rooms you haven't even entered yet. The one God formed in fire is about to step into the world fully alive. This isn't about popularity, it's about power. And power isn't tied to statutes, it's birthed in surrender. When God breathes on your name, it won't matter who tried to bury it. When God says, "Rise," not even the grave of your own doubt can hold you. Yes, you may have lost your voice in the process. You may have questioned your confidence. But hear this, you never lost your calling, and now God is reviving what looked dead. This isn't just a comeback, it's a resurrection of purpose. You'll start seeing yourself differently, not through the lens of what you've been through, but through the clarity of who God says you are. That mirror, it will no longer reflect your limitations, it will reveal your potential. Those whispers from your past, silenced. That fear, overwritten. Because when God reveals the true self, He buries every lie that tried to keep you hidden. You are not your trauma. You are not your rejection. You are not the reflection of your failures. You are the echo of God's divine intent. You are the living proof that God still raises, still restores, still reveals, and when He does, He equips you to walk in it. You'll move differently now. The steps you once hesitated to take will be made with boldness. The decisions you used to delay will be met with holy confidence. Because what God has shown you isn't just a thought, it's a divine reality. This clarity you carry, it's not mental, it's spiritual. It's the kind of clarity that purifies motives, sharpens discernment, and exposes anything that can't stay with you in the next chapter. False attachments will fall away. What used to entertain you will irritate you. What used to distract you will now disturb you. Why? Because your spirit is too awake to play with deception. You don't crave noise anymore, you crave stillness. You don't chase applause, you chase alignment. You don't move for attention, you move in obedience. And obedience, when rooted in identity, becomes the most powerful force on earth. It silences chaos, it breaks patterns, it attracts divine timing. You'll start hearing God more clearly, sensing purpose more deeply, and responding to divine assignments with fire, not fear. This moment you're entering, it's not just personal, it's generational. The unveiling of your true self is a key to someone else's breakthrough. Your voice will unlock freedom. Your obedience will set chains loose. You were never just called to be seen, you were called to be used. So step into the hour of responsibility. You can't go back. You can't shrink into old rooms. You can't laugh at things that violate your calling. The time has come. Heaven is moving. Earth is groaning. And God is revealing you not the version the world demanded, but the one He formed in secret. What's coming isn't about comfort, it's about kingdom. It's about shaking atmospheres, shifting generations, and bringing heaven into earth through you. So stand bold, stay humble, walk close with God. Because when God reveals who you really are, the world will never be the same. Have you ever felt the subtle pull when your soul is shifting, but the crowd around you keeps trying to anchor you in the past? That quiet tension between revelation and routine. That's the moment when your growth starts to cost you. Because once God shows you who you truly are, you can't go back to who you were. You can't keep walking with people who pull you away from what heaven has revealed. Once truth arrives, compromise becomes poison. What used to be tolerable now becomes toxic. What used to feel familiar now feels like chains. Because with divine revelation comes divine responsibility. God doesn't reveal identity just to make you feel special. He reveals identity to ignite purpose. And when purpose is lit by the fire of God, no force in hell, no distraction on earth, no lie in your head can extinguish what's been ordained. You were created to disrupt darkness, not to accommodate it. You were born to shift the atmosphere, not blend into it. That's why the storms have been fierce. That's why the warfare has felt personal. That's why the pressure has been relentless. The enemy doesn't waste fire on what doesn't threaten his systems. You were attacked not because you were weak, but because your very presence makes strongholds nervous. Your voice shakes up deception. Your light exposes what's been hidden. But what the darkness didn't count on was your endurance. What the enemy didn't plan for was the God who holds you steady. When your destiny has been built by divine hands, not even the fiercest attack can crack your foundation. This isn't just a season of increase, it's a season of awakening. God isn't just giving you more, He's awakening who you really are. And as your spirit awakens, so does your reach. The real you doesn't wait for recognition. The real you doesn't shrink in the shadow of other people's opinions. The real you is a force of righteousness, infused with the breath of God, walking boldly as a vessel of unwavering purpose. Don't use your surroundings to measure what's coming. God's movements often begin in obscurity. The seed doesn't shout. From the surface it grows quietly beneath. Underground, roots are forming. Strength is developing. The deeper the root, the greater the rise. God didn't bury you, He planted you. And now, because you remained rooted in faith, the time of sprouting has come. You will risen not because it's convenient, but because it's God's appointed time. And when He reveals you, you won't need to justify it. You won't have to campaign or beg for recognition. When God's light hits your life, it speaks louder than words. It carries clarity so strong, confusion can't breathe in its presence. You've tried to explain your journey to people who couldn't understand your depth. But now, your walk will preach louder than your voice ever could. Your scars will testify. Your survival will declare victory. Your steps will echo in places your words never reached, because the you that's been refined in fire is about to step forward. This isn't a rise into fame. This is a rise into power. There's a difference. Fame is fragile. Power is eternal. Fame fades with applause. Power remains in silence. And divine power doesn't come from position, it flows from alignment. When God breathes on your name, even graves of self-doubt can't hold you back. Even years of insecurity can't shut the doors God is opening. You may have lost your confidence, but you never lost your calling. And now, God is breathing life into what you thought was dead. This is a resurrection not of your body, but of your purpose. The mirror will no longer reflect your limits. It will reveal your destiny. The whispers from your past will no longer chain your future, because when God reveals identity, He simultaneously destroys every lie that tried to bury it. You are not the voice of your trauma. You are not the shadow of your shame. You are not the echo of rejection. You are the echo of God's original intention. He still raises. He still restores. He still reveals. And when He reveals, He equips. What once made you hesitate will now make you move. What once made you doubt will now become your fire. Because the clarity God gives doesn't just live in your mind, it reshapes your spirit. You'll find your discernment sharpening, your appetite changing. Things that once entertained you will now irritate your spirit. You won't chase noise, you'll crave stillness. You won't hunger for attention, you'll crave alignment. That's what happens when your soul is reconnected to its original blueprint. You begin to reject distractions because you've tasted the divine. And when you walk in this new awareness, the atmosphere around you changes. Not because you demand it, but because of what you carry. Doors will open not because you knock, but because your presence carries assignment. Opportunities will chase you. People will be drawn to you not by charisma, but by the weight of the anointing. And the fire in you won't flicker, it will blaze. But you must protect this fire. This identity cannot be carried casually. You cannot tread lightly on something God poured out with such intentionality. To whom much is revealed, much is required. You must protect your spirit from compromise, your eyes from distraction, your heart from contamination. This revelation is holy, and if God gave it, He expects you to guard it. What if I told you right now heaven is leaning in? That the silence around you isn't empty, it's sacred. Because what God is about to birth through you will not just change your story, it will shake generations. This is bigger than promotion, bigger than visibility. What's coming will mark a shift in legacy. Because the real you, the one God handcrafted in the quiet corners of eternity, is not just a dreamer. You are a warrior, a carrier of divine blueprints, a disruptor of darkness, a firewalker, a truth-bearer, a living vessel of justice soaked in mercy. You were never created to blend into the crowd. You were never meant to cower in fear or dilute your fire to keep others comfortable. You weren't born to agree with lies. You were born to confront them, to stand up against the deception hovering over your family line, to rise and speak against generational fear, to silence the inner voice of doubt whispering you're not enough. And how do you silence it? By roaring back, I know who I am because I know whose I am. This is not the hour to hesitate. This is not the season to shrink. This is not the moment to delay. When God reveals your identity, it's not for admiration, it's for activation. You must move. You must respond. You must rise and walk in the full expression of the call placed on your life, and do it with fire in your eyes and unwavering faith in your heart. Because every second you stall, purpose sits waiting, and purpose was never meant to wait, it was meant to run. There are lives tethered to your obedience, breakthroughs that will only be unlocked when you step into alignment with who God made you to be. There are voices still trapped in silence, waiting for your sound. There are places cloaked in darkness, waiting for the light only you carry. You weren't just chosen to exist, you were chosen to ignite. And that ignition begins when you fully surrender to what God has revealed about your calling. Let the critics talk. Let the world misunderstand. Let people try to analyze and categorize you. It doesn't matter anymore, because when God reveals a soul, no human can conceal it. When God sets destiny in motion, no gate of hell, no power of darkness, no whisper of the enemy can stop its momentum. You are being unveiled by divine, order not by man's permission. So rise not in arrogance, but in assurance. Stand not for applause, but for assignment. Walk not in pretense, but in power. Let your life become a daily offering to God. Let your thoughts be filtered through His wisdom. Let your voice only echo what He places in your mouth, because this is not a performance, this is purpose, this is calling, and it's alive. You've waited long enough, you've hidden long enough, you've downplayed your strength long enough. Now it's time. The trumpet has sounded, the veil has been torn, the summons from heaven has been declared. No more apologizing for your power, no more shrinking to make others feel secure, no more bowing to the idol of fear. This is your moment, this is your hour, this is the divine unveiling. You are no longer defined by the mistakes of your past. You are no longer shackled by the opinions of people who never saw your wilderness. You are no longer bound by the loops of confusion, because clarity has come. And with clarity comes commissioning. The mask is falling, the fog is lifting, the shell is cracking, and what is emerging is not fragilites fierce, not weak but anointed, not random but appointed, not average but unstoppable, because it has been forged in the secret place by the hands of the Almighty. Let heaven record it. The rising has begun. Let the earth respond. The assignment is moving. Let your soul agree. I was born for this. Every great move of God begins with one soul that says, yes. Yes to the call. Yes to the wait. Yes to the refining. Yes to the fire. And now, child of destiny, it's your turn. Walk forward not because you've figured everything out, but because God already has. There is a moment in every life where silence breaks and purpose speaks. And that moment isn't measured by clock sits, measured by divine alignment. And make no mistake, you are standing in it now. God is calling for the version of you that's been buried under hesitation, locked beneath wounds, shadowed by fear. And that version is breaking free, because God never forgot. He never overlooked the seed He planted in you before time began. And now, heaven is responding, the earth is shifting, the Spirit is stirring. Why? Because the unveiling is not a concept, it's a current already in motion. You were never made to survive in the shadows of history. You were crafted to walk in the center of divine unfolding. Not for fame, not for human validation, but to fulfill a holy assignment scripted by the very breath of God. When God reveals who you truly are, it's not to comfort you, it's to clarify you. And clarity has a sound. It slices through delay. It silences confusion. It snaps the chains of fear. Clarity leads to obedience. Obedience leads to motion. Motion leads to manifestation. And manifestation brings heaven to earth through you. So don't be surprised when this revelation comes like a wave strong, sudden, undeniable. A wave that washes away false identities, crushes lies, tears off the masks, and drowns every voice that told you you can't. Now you see why you had to walk alone. Now you understand why the fire had to be so hot. Now it makes sense why you were misunderstood. Because what's rising now was never meant to fit into boxes. It was meant to break them. The territory is expanding. Not just outwardly, but inwardly. Your soul is enlarging with divine awareness. And once you've expanded by truth, you'll never return to small thinking. Your vision has grown. Your atmosphere has shifted. Your discernment has sharpened. And when people ask where you've been just, smile. Because they didn't see the wilderness. They didn't hear the midnight cries. They didn't feel the pressure of destiny shaping you in silence. But God did. And now, the time of unveiling has come. Have you ever wondered why God hid you so long? Why you had to wait in silence while others were seen? It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. In the stillness, God wasn't ignoring you. He was igniting you. He was whispering identity into your very bones. And in that quiet place, where the noise of human approval faded, a holy truth was born. You were never forgotten. You were being fortified. And now, the hiding is over. The veil is lifting. The silence is ending. The heavens are roaring with the announcement. God is revealing what He refined. What He sealed in purpose is now being released in power. Your name is being called not for applause, but for assignment. This is not a time to feel small. This is not a moment for shallow living. This is your divine unveiling. And what God reveals carries weight. It carries depth. It carries fire. It carries clarity, the kind of clarity that makes every step sacred, every word intentional, every move a declaration of heaven's authority. You're not rising for relevance. You're rising because revelation has demanded it. People may approach you expecting the old version, the one that once played small to make others comfortable, but that version no longer exists. So surrender. Surrender the mask. Surrender the doubt. Surrender the noise. Step into the soul that God formed through every storm, every silence, every secret battle. This is the unveiling, the rising, the awakening. There's no more time to hesitate, no more time to play small. The earth is groaning for the voice God placed inside you. So rise not by might, not by strategy, but by the Spirit of the living God. Let your life speak louder than your words. Let your faith echo louder than fear. Let your future become a story that shouts, when God reveals who you truly are, nothing stays the same.